phone camera that I have down here. All y'all are gonna get like a nice little aerial view. Ah, that's better. That's a good perspective, right? Right, and if you happen to be watching this early on, I just want to say that this live stream is titled "Stop Trolling Me" because I've had a recent influx of trolls, and what I want to test out. This is more of an experiment rather than wanting trolls to stop coming in. But this is really an experiment to see if this actually invites more trolls or whether, or just to see the experiment. I'm just curious whether more trolls come after I do this or whatever. Either way, it's fine for me. But you know, this is really just an experimental, like, oh no, trolls, uh-oh, kind of thing. And if it somehow invites more, I find that hilarious. But I'm only sharing that at the beginning of this live stream before we start this painting because, you know, I feel like when people pop in later on, they're not going to hear this message, which I think is a pretty relevant to this experimental live stream title. So YouTube, I don't know, let's see how the YouTube algorithm does as far as that is concerned. But with that said, let's start this painting here. We've got to go live on this. I still have some setup to do. This setup is not going to work right now. Let's go raise this up a little bit. I got a multi-camera setup here. So let's see. Got to bring this down, right? Is that right? Uh-oh. Let's see. That's actually a pretty good angle, right? I'm going to bring that right there. Okay. So maybe can I bring this closer? Yes. Let's bring this a little bit closer. Lock this in here. So I hope it's not affecting the viewers on YouTube as far as what you're seeing here. You know what? Let's see. How do I do this? How do I do this in a nice, productive way? What's up, Carter? How you doing? Welcome. Welcome to my humble abode, my humble painting studio, where I paint masterpieces right before your eyes. And let's go. I'm just organizing this new camera setup here. Maybe I should bring this forward a little bit. Uh-oh. Why is this? Oh, that's why. So, what brings you in today, Carter? How is your life being spent? Are you spending your life in quality, or are you having? Is everything good? Is what I want to know. Is everything good with you? How has life been treating you? Good. You love it. Awesome. Wonderful to hear. So great to hear. And you know, I find it amazing to have all these fantastic live viewers at any time of the day. You know, it's like YouTube. If you stream in the morning, you get people from around the world. If you stream at night, you get people from around the world. If you stream in the afternoon, you get people from Canada, USA. You get people from all over the world, and it's just absolutely amazing. So we're gonna get started on streaming here. I'm only gonna stream for about an hour and a half today. Or right now. I streamed a little earlier, but I'm going to do about an hour and a half for the continuation of this painting. But we're going to do as much as I can. You know, I find now that my typical ability to paint and create only lasts about like, I just ate, so I have something on my mouth. You know, I can really only paint straight for about up to 4 hours. If I'm in public, painting in public, like in plein air, I can paint about 4 hours, 4 to 6 hours if there's good breaks and I'm able to get snacks and stuff. But sometimes you're like painting somewhere and you can't really go use the bathroom or have snacks. because you gotta like take down your entire setup, and that's when I usually you know, paint for no more than 4 hours, but I can sometimes go more than 4. But for these live streams, when I need to get like real detailed paintings, I can really only do about like 2, somewhere between 2 to 4. But anyway, we're working here. This is a painting that I've been working on for almost a week now. It's going great. I'm enjoying the process. I'm enjoying what's coming of it. And basically, we're going to continue this at least for a while. It might take us 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I don't know. But I've been given time to finish this. But this isn't going to be one of those, you know, 5-year paintings. 5-year paintings that takes like 5 years or longer. You know, good old classical traditional ways of painting that took centuries to paint. We'll probably be working on this for maybe a week or 2 longer. You can get a lot done when you really focus. So I'm trying to clean off this brush, and it's got so much darker colors on it. But here we go. You're in a bathroom. Okay. You know, Carter, here's the funny thing. You might have to rewatch the stream if you want to know what I said, because I usually forget what I say every, like, 45 seconds, because my live streams are a stream of consciousness. I consider a stream of consciousness, so I'm constantly streaming in and out of consciousness, just sharing anything that comes to mind as far as the artwork is concerned, because I really want my streams to really capture the mind of not just an artist, but like more specifically, you know, the mind of the creative act. You know, when you're working creatively, what is that mind like? So if I'm being honest, I really can't remember exactly what I said. Therefore, if you really want to have that conversation, you might have to pop back in. But here we are. We're just using a brush, and we're going over the heel here. Going into the heel. We're going to come across the top here and just go add a little bit of density. Across the top of the heel right here. I guess this is the front of the foot rather than the heel. And this is just going to help us add a bit more dimension to our shoe. Sometimes it's the smaller touches that really helps to bring a painting together, you know? Some really subtle details. All right, and here we go. So, something I wanted to work on at the beginning when I first launched this today was the facial features. And since this afternoon, I've done some things. You know what I need? I need some more mineral spirits. So let me go grab my mineral spirits here. This is going to be a fun thing to share. So this is some mineral spirit here. This is what I use to clean all my supplies. Foundations for oil, safety cleaning, odor-free, clear, lean, and clean. I used to use Gamsol. I'd probably be open to switching between Gamsol and this. But you know what I will say is that if you use this to create a layer, if you use this to create your initial layer, I think it dries a little faster than Gamsol, which allows you to paint much quicker. Yo, Carter, thank you. Wow, Carter, you can have all the talent that you want and need. Here's the interesting, but this is usually used, I do this with cleaning, thinning the paint, all those things. But the problem with this is that, you know, it's odorless, but it doesn't mean that there's no evaporate. So really important to paint in a open environment, which I'm not demonstrating the best because you know, it's summertime in Los Angeles. It's 90 degrees outside. It's probably the worst season to paint because I have to keep my doors closed so I can keep my air conditioner on. But I have a fan near me, and hopefully that does enough of the job. But I use this to thin the paint and to make it dry faster. And with that said, it is incredibly beneficial because it helps you manipulate your paint. And let's see here about softening some of these features here. We're gonna go in. We're gonna add a little bit of red here. Let's add red onto our brush, a little red. And we're gonna bring this up. Let's see. So you said your talent is sports. Pretty amazing. What kind of sports? What kind of sports are your favorite? What sports do you excel in? We're gonna come into here and we're gonna go. Let's straight up. Let me figure out a way to just improve this little section a little bit better. Move this area around the lip just a bit. And there we go. Okay. So King Shen, what's up, dude? How do you have the #1 fan tag already? How do you have the top fan tag? Football, basketball, baseball, soccer? Because here's the thing. Carter's been here. So King Shen must be a repeat visitor whose name I have yet to recognize. So King Shen, if you are an undercover regular here, thank you for, you know, making the effort to try different profile names. I'm fairly new to this this thing, the top fan feature, which it's a little new to me. So I'm still trying to figure out how people become the top fan, because some people are the top fan, I don't even know who they are. All right. So anyway, Miss Cupcake 22 says, "Nice painting, thank you." And here we go. We're gonna add some highlight right underneath the neck. Here's the funny thing. So I feel like I'm getting less trolls when I actually put "Stop trolling me." But I really thought that there would be more trolls. I thought this would yield a surprising experiment where, like, simply asking for people to stop trolling you would suddenly bring more trolls. But I guess that's not the case. I guess the YouTube algorithm knows when to bring it and when to not. When to bring the trolls and when to not. Honestly, yeah, I really did think that it would have the opposite effect, which was the opposite effect being that I was going to get more, not less. No, still a little too dark here. Let's go, or a little too bright. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. We're gonna go build our highlight here. We're gonna build it down. Ever so subtle transition there. And let's see how we can add some transitions to the other side of the face, to her other half, aka his face. I want to see how I can add some transitions there. So I think there needs to be a bit more shadow to work with. I'll work with a bit more shadow here. And let's see. Gotta find the right combination of this. Do lots of like individual color mixing. Let's go right into the eye here. go. Getting some better shadows coming around. Really getting into like some pretty microscopic detail here. Let's see. Some fairly microscopic details. Create like a nice color transition around her shoulder here. Let's see now. How's that going? Yeah, a little better. All right. And that's good. I think we can let this dry for the afternoon and then figure out the rest by tomorrow. But as we continue on with this, making the ever so slight improvements. Let's see how we can go across the front of the neck here. You know what? This is good. We're going good here. All right, let's capture this. Oh yeah, here's something I needed to do too. I needed to modify the area around his suit. So there's just like subtle little things that help to make the suit look more suit-like, as opposed to like, you know, a really stiff drawing. Specifically, I'm gonna come down here. Let me clean off this brush a little bit. And you're gonna be able to see the difference real quick. Because earlier I did another one, and the difference is like night and day. Literally just a simple change can make a huge drastic effect. Like this little wrinkle down here in the boot. Yo, what's up? Stream was really good. Hey, take care, Carter. So this little boot, right, or this little crease right here in the pants made such a difference in how these pants appear. So I want to aim to capture that, and I want to bring in some of the suit. So I'm going to bring this suit in. And I'm going to cut the suit just a little bit into here. And how am I going to do that? We're just going to paint it down like this. Of course, we want to make it look natural, so we don't want the those highlights to stay there too long. we definitely want to mix up some of the color in that space. So we're going to add a bit of a darker color here. We're going to add some little dark strokes of green right there. Little just like pops. Make it look like a painting. And let's go into here. I really want to get the figures really nailed down, so I can start doing all the other fun stuff. I mean, the figures are probably the most exciting, but they're also the most important. And as soon as you nail that down, you know, you can really get an idea of how you want how the rest of the painting can or needs to look. In my opinion, that's just my opinion. Other artists have opinions too, and that's okay. I think as human beings, we are entitled to opinions, right? And here we go. Let's add a little bit of some of the shadow. Just and very good. Now for my most challenging thing, I probably got to, so if this was the end, let's see, if this line was the end, I would say that this line ends right about here, which wouldn't be so bad. You know, it's not that bad. Composition goes. Yeah, okay. That line can be there. Oh yeah, here we go. Let's give some highlights to the cup here. So that's a really important thing. And if I wanted to turn my source of light, I mean, I could just. So that's the one thing. I'm using multiple references, which means there's no consistent source of light. But that's why we paint a little bit flatter. And we could just kind of go a head-on source of light. So to go with that, we could pretty much just add some little highlights onto the cup. Yo, what's up, Josh Harvey? All right, and by the way, so Omizu, if Omizu's just turning in, he might think that my live stream is actually about him, but it's not. Hope everything's been good. Yeah, everything's been great. I'm working on this wonderful piece right now, and when I can paint and when I can make stuff, it's all makes for a wonderful, wonderful time. So there we go. This is a building that I need to finalize here. And the benefit of this building, the great thing about this building is that it doesn't have to be too tight because there's going to be a tree in front of it. But I do want to keep it. My biggest challenge is deciding how how light or dark I want this piece. There's just too much. There's too much like highlights competing with our bride and groom, and honestly, let me see what I could do with a bit of a rough brush. Let me go with like a dry brush effect. I'm gonna go with like a dry brush effect on our surface here, and try to reduce how much competition is happening between this bright floor and I'll find a nice dry brush here. Where's a good dry brush? This might work. Let me see. Can this might work actually. We're gonna take like a darker blue. Actually, let me grab some blue here. There we go, ultramarine blue. Like my biggest challenge with this painting right now is figuring out how to make this a painting where, you know, the main figures here are they stand out the most. How to make it look as if, you know, they are the dominant color here. And, you know, how do I apply some painterly effects? So I'm going to experiment with some by going with like a dark blue, and we're just going to do like a little dry brush effect here. And if I don't like it, that's okay, because I can just, ideally I'm going to be able to just paint over it. But this is just a dry brush that I'm using right now. And we can give it this like, I don't know if I'm liking it yet. Do I only paint oils? Yes, I only paint oils. So Mizu narcissistic. Yes, he is very narcissistic. Do I only paint oils? Yes, I only use oils because I love oils. And you know, it's another thing, like I've invested so much in oils that, you know, I can't really go back now, you know? Yeah, I don't think this is going to work. I don't need to get too expressive with this. So, fortunately with oil paints, I get to paint over this. But no matter what, I do want to darken some of what's going on here. So, I do want to darken the area a little bit. So this is going to be good no matter what. Just getting this little dry brush. If the whole painting had this like this crisscross effect, I think it would be okay, but because the whole painting does not, I don't feel as if it'll work out. So all right, well that was fun. That's not gonna work. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna use this as an opportunity to blend in that that area. And you know what a great time to use a new brush. So I have this brush that's been sitting here for a while, and you know, thank you to all the people who helped to support my channel, because I get to buy, experiment with, and play with some of the world's best brushes. To include one of my favorites, we got Princeton Catalyst. So this is one of my favorite brushes. It's a synthetic fiber. You can tell Princeton's a very well-known brand. They're all over the place. You can buy it anywhere. Well, not anywhere, but you know, wherever standard brushes are sold, you can probably find them. Princeton's pretty standard. The ones with the black and the black tip are my favorites. The Princeton Catalyst is a synthetic fiber, lasts a very long time, and it doesn't, you know, hold its point, but I don't usually like my brushes to hold their point. And here's another wonderful brush that I get to use right now. This is a Rosemary Co pointed round brush, and I'm going to ruin the point now, because that pretty much happens with all my brushes, is the points never stick around. But fortunately, I'm never going to need a point this huge. So let me dip this in a little bit of oil. You know, you can tell it's new because it's stiff, right? It's like totally pointed. Oils are beautiful to paint. Am I painting a wave? No. I was experimenting with painting like crisscross. But I simply think that, you know, I was trying to do the crisscross activity, the crisscross thing. So here's the cool thing. Although this looks chaotic and kind of messy, I do have an opportunity now. I mean, if I blend this in, I can create a little bit of a darker contrast, and you know, really allow our two figures to pop and not have to compete with the other bright colors. So that's a really important thing. If I think overall composition, you know, it might not be totally accurate. But the most important thing, I mean, people are going to look at all the stuff around it, but more importantly, they're going to wonder, like, oh, it's the actual figures themselves that are the most important things here. So let me actually, so this brush is going to help us blend in some of the blues, and we're going to, you know, we're going with like a darker tone here. Some darker shades of blue. And go with some cooler colors. Let's add some oil to this. Add some oil to improve spreadability. Who trolls me? So here's the funny thing. If you watch the beginning of this stream, well, Mizu trolls me. But if you watch the beginning, more importantly, Omizu's not the issue. I've been getting like more like harmful trolls lately. In a sense of like they would actually ruin the experience of other people. Whereas, you know, Omizu just ruins my painting experience. But, you know, I don't care about that. I think that's fine. But the trolls that I've been getting lately would ruin the experience for other viewers. Therefore, you know, I made this, I wrote that, and I was just really curious. I was like, you know, I wonder if by writing that I'm going to get more trolls, or if by writing that, you know, people will actually stop trolling, or if Omizu is going to think that this is about him, or whatever, which it is not. So let's get a little bit more oil into this brush. And we need some more spreadability for this paint here. So let's go like this. We're going to go bring this around and just spread it across our blue here. Is she walking on water? No. I do just want to create this like beautiful blue down here just to create this like contrast here. Let's go across here. So we're just going to bring these across. So who trolls me? Everybody. Who's not trolling me? Okay, and let's go into here. Let's go like this. So let's go like this. I guess a lot of kindergartners. Am I still pursuing my acting career? Yeah, so the industry has been really slow. Am I as active in it? I wouldn't say it's because I'm not active. I would say it's mostly because just the industry is slow, and you know I'm not making my own work. And my agent represents mostly commercial actors. So in that sense, I just haven't been going out because I am part of the Screen Actors Guild, which means that I'm very picky about my work. No, just kidding. I mean, kind of, yeah. I'm not allowed to do work that's not union. So therefore, 80% of work, and you know, I think a lot of people ask themselves this question is, why would you ever limit the type of work that you do in this kind of career? And you know, it's a tough question to answer. But it really is just one of those things where it's like, you know, you got to make a choice to be a part of the union or not. And I made that choice, which means I can't do non-union work, and therefore a lot of work is off limits to me. I mean, I can do it, right, technically, but there's a rule that you're not really supposed to. Hmm. here. Oops. Yeah, thank you for all the thoughts. Let me see how I can smooth out the rest of this. So I actually am really bad with this brush that I'm about to use. But I haven't touched it yet. And for whatever reason, this is like a single use brush for me. Any fan brush, any type of fan brush is pretty much like, I only have one use out of it because I can't seem to keep the bristles from getting ruined. Maybe it's my cleaning technique, I don't know. But I want to use this blender brush. It's a soft fan brush, usually use it for blending. And I have yet to figure out how to effectively clean it in a way that it doesn't get ruined. But I think right now is probably a good time, right? Just to capture and clean up some of this space. Keep it from getting all textured, to soften some of the details here. You know what I realized about painting is that organic shapes do not look nice. Like, you should either go with angular, highly angular shapes, or highly angular. I think that's all I'm trying to say is, organic shapes don't usually look nice unless it's like plants, right? But if you're going for fabric or whatever, you really want to try to get, and this is just based on my observation, you really want to try to get hard corners as opposed to rounded edges. Alexa, what time is it?
The time is 3:55 p.m.
So there we go, we have that, and we're going to come into here and we're going to do the same thing, just softening into getting it nice and soft into our space here, blending all of this in nicely with our little fan brush. Or I guess rather than saying organic shapes don't look nice, my definition is the actual shape, right? Like if you're drawing something, I think angles look much nicer if you can focus on getting the angularness of an object. So like this dress, right? The dress has these little organic looking ridges on the side, and I think if I was to make them angular, it would actually look even better. So I will do that later. But for now, I want to make sure that I just get this section right here. So fan brush, get all up into the, fan it, right? You gotta fan it. fan it, fan it. Fan the brush, fan the brush. There we go, fan it. Just fan the brush here. Let's go with just this little hint of blue down here, and we're gonna mix it into our, oops, a little too much. So grab this, whiten it up. And let's see, so we've got this blue, it's looking all right. It's looking okay. I just think it's a little too, like, something's got to happen to it. But I do like the value that it's at now, something a little bit help keep the bristles soft. What a name. I don't know, the blue's not too bad. Yeah, a little, you know, there's some flatness to it. Let's see what I can do with blending in a contrasting color, right? We can probably bring in some reds and yellows. Let's go with just, let's try to bring in some like yellow. Experiment a little. Just a little too flat, right? So let's go, let's see what happens if we just lay a little bit of color. Just a little bit right there. Some strategic layering, right? Some strategic, maybe a little bit like right here. That's actually kind of nice, huh? It's these little like, it's these little sweeps of gold. I actually kind of like that. Little sweeps of gold. Subtle. Irina, what's up? Irina, Sarah, what's who is trolling me and how? Well, you know what? Like previous like 4 streams that I've been doing have been, you know, trolls that could affect the happiness of the other viewers. And, you know, I don't mind if somebody's like making fun of my paintings or making fun of me. But if they start to ruin the experience of others, then, you know, I can't really, that is going to ruin others' experiences. And I can't have that. And Omizu, even though Omizu's a mod, he really doesn't do anything. So, you know, I kind of have to like try to figure out how to try to just do my best. And, you know, I'm kind of serious, like, you know, stop trolling me, but also it's not that big of a deal. I just, This felt like making a interesting live stream title. Some people just want to drag the world down. Let's go with some slashes of white. Let's go with some slashes of white. Let's do some cross with white here. So we're gonna start at the top here, and we're gonna go little accents. This might be good. These little accents could be very good. The most important thing was to reduce how bright everything was and allow our queen and king to really shine in this piece. Yeah. All right, so we want our queen and king to shine. And therefore, ultimately this is a painting, right? So how do you make a painting a painting? Besides adding bits of accent. Little highlights. Gotta add a little highlight coming in from here. Alexa, what time is it?
4:05 p.m.
4:05. Yeah, throwing Omizu under the bus. So if this brush, I just cleaned it. See, no matter what, like it always gets this like separated bristle effect. And like I dipped it in oil, cleaned it in my mineral spirits, but no matter what, I can never get them to stay separated more than one painting session. So this brush, I basically have to have like 100 of these if I want it to be like. I heard baby oil is like really bad for your brush. You know what? I used to use baby oil until I realized that baby oil never dries and that it can really ruin your brushes because it doesn't mix well with all the other parts that are responsible for stuff. So I don't know, Mizu. You haven't totally convinced me about the baby oil. I know you think I'll do everything that you recommend, but for the baby oil, I don't know. My personal experience with baby oil hasn't been the best. I haven't had a good experience using baby oil. So unless you make a good argument for this. Anyway, There, I was able to spread it a little bit. Hopefully it maintains. It's still got like all the little fibers that are really intricately like spaced. But when you first get it, there's like no spaces. Yeah, oil. So baby oil doesn't dry. If you try to use baby oil, if you try to use baby oil for paintbrushes, you'll just find that it's never going to dry. All right. And what else do we need to do? So I need to darken some of this backdrop here. Let's go with this top piece. That top piece. All the top pieces here. But it is nice that, you know, now that I've said stop trolling me in this live stream, some people have returned. I see some familiar names, Josh and Sarah. So, but, you know, if you watch the beginning of the stream, the first like 2 minutes, I kind of explain what happened, and you know, I do want to say that part of it was just to see how the YouTube algorithm works. I wanted to test out to see that if I wrote this like stop trolling me thing, if more trolls will come, or what could possibly happen. I don't know. It's like a experiment for the YouTube, this algorithm. But those of you here to show your support rather than show your support, thank you. But it was totally an experiment to see how the YouTube algorithm will either invite more or less. What is Omizu saying? Have a jar just with oil and keep your brushes in that until you need to use the brush. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your wisdom. It's greatly appreciated. Not always accepted, but greatly appreciated. Oh, no. Yep, okay. Well, I already have like 2 jars. I don't feel, honestly, I just don't feel like having a 3rd jar. It just seems like overkill. Alright, can I finish this building on the right here? This building on the right is giving me a lot of heartache. I need to gray out this building. Gray it out with some of this ochre. And it's at a slightly different angle, so that's okay. We can make it just ever so slightly less. Omizu doesn't, he says 30 years experience. $30 years, 1 century. Omizu has painting for over a century. All right, we need to lighten this one. One century worth of paintings Omizu has done. And here he is to share his wisdom with us. Omizu is 1 century old. Just kidding, everybody. Omizu is not saying any of those things. I'm just... So Josh, what's going on with you, man? Popped in here on a special day to share some good news, I expect. How's it hanging? This needs to, if I use this as a level, does it come down to right about there, huh? So if I go to, I should mark that instead of, hey, you know what, that's actually a pretty good spot. Wherever that corner is. Omizu says behind a paywall. All right, Omizu. I believe it. Yeah, I mean, honestly, at some point, you know, anyone who really builds enough should be behind, you know, should do their work behind a paywall. Like that business model that Bob Ross had, like, you know, despite the fact that every artist can do it now, which is painting and teaching, the real business model today is to do the paywall thing, to have some pieces behind the paywall, and you know, maybe I will do that one day too. Maybe I will follow Omizu's lead and do that sometime. But for now, I have said that, and I still haven't done it yet, but I've been saying that anything that I do that's over 6 months old, that's a live stream, I was planning to actually take it and put that behind a paywall. So it all depends, right? Depends on your strategy for business. After all, if you're an artist, you are a business. When you're an artist, you are no longer just an individual. You are a business. You worked on a series for about a month doing film work. Oh, dude, you're making movies? You picked up a lot of weight, been bringing series, but you finally picked up a canvas. Might start creating content for your paintings well in the near future, but in order for content, a lot needs to happen. All right. What kind of stuff needs to happen? Let's tighten up this wall here. All right, someone sent an inappropriate message. Let's see what it is. Oh, that's not bad. You gotta take your head out of your rear. Yeah, okay, that's cool. Oh, you work in Cape Town? That's awesome, man. You're a movie person in Cape Town. That's amazing. Fantastic. Very cool. All right. Cape Town movie business. Sounds exciting. Okay, let's go grab a nice lighter shade of blue here. And we're going to come down with our shadow nice and deep. Maybe even a little bit more gray. Bring it across a bit more. And then, hey, so like, but not where you are. Yeah, so how is the movie business now? Because like California's been pretty rough. It's been pretty rough out here in California. But they just released some new tax incentives. So I feel like the Californios are very optimistic about what's to come. then it's like, what happens next? You know, what's next? What happens next 4 years from now, 5 years from now? This last strike was pretty devastating. Alright, we're going to clean off this brush. And let's go with a thicker flat brush here. Dip it in some oils. Oh, yeah. Oh, international deals? Really? So there's issues with those international problems? Is it kicking people out, or? Let me see here. What am I looking for? I'm looking for this scraper. So I use this scraper here. And, you know, I like to hope that it helps me to separate my brushes, even though it messes my brushes up a little bit. It's like very rough with them. I think it does a good job of helping me separate them. And here we go. Let's go into here. We're gonna do another highlight section. And let's see. I'm gonna darken this just a little bit. Let's go. That's a lot. That's a lot of bit. We're adding little hints of purple into this, just to create a bit of contrast as far as our shadow goes. Let's grab our gray here. Maybe give that a little bit more depth. Mizu, it makes it difficult for production companies want to shoot. Oh, well, yeah, Los Angeles is definitely. I mean, Los Angeles in general is really expensive to shoot, but then I get what you're saying, how, you know, the political environment. Well, also the other thing is too that, you know, I don't know. Are you talking about trying to get productions to move to Los Angeles, or get productions to film in South Africa? Because what the American production people are saying is like, yo, we don't want all the money to go to outside of America. You know, we want it to stay in Hollywood. And that's what they're saying. I mean, you know, I'm the messenger, but, and actually, you know, I'm not even the messenger. I'm just like these messages are all over Facebook if you look. But the message is basically like, hey, you know, all these tax credits are happening because they're like, you know, all this money is going outside of California, that outside of Los Angeles. And of course, you know, I want movies to be in Los Angeles because that's where I live. But you know, I understand that realistically, there's, you know, everybody wants the movie industry. Every single country in the world wants some Amazon money, wants some Netflix money. You see, if they want to shoot here in South Africa, instead of paying $2 million, they would actually have to pay more, apparently. Hey, you don't even have to fact check that. Honestly, like, that sounds pretty not reasonable, but it sounds pretty accurate. That wouldn't even be like worth debating how accurate that sounds. Alexa off. I'm actually going to sign off here in just a few moments, but I do want to get a couple extra details down here. Things, projects that are and have happened are all overseas, right? Yeah, I know. I mean, definitely. Americans are very aware of how expensive, how almost absurd. Like, it's not even how almost absurdly expensive. It's just absurdly expensive. Like, I know. Actually, no, I don't actually know this, but you know, if there's like a movie that's filming on a street that has people living there, and they're like blocking off a significant amount of that, like, of their home or whatever, they have to pay each resident like $5,000 per day that they're filming. I think that rate's like negotiable actually, and I'm not even sure if that's the going rate, but I've definitely heard upwards of like $5K just to get people to not complain about, you know, you filming in front of their home. $5,000 a day. Like, there's no small production that can afford that. None. Can't afford that on a micro budget. Just cannot. And that's US dollars. Therefore, you know, I totally get why people would want to, why some of the business is moving outside of California. You know, I'm not oblivious to what's happening. Alexa, what time is it?
The time is 12:45 p.m.
Alright, so here's where I can start to have some extra fun now. We're going to go with very loose yellow. Dip it in some oil. Get some more loose yellow. And we're going to bring a tree right here. It's going to be a tree here. So let's go like this. Bring down some of the shape, like right down here. Grab some more of this yellow. I'm just like sketching out the shape of the tree so that I can see exactly like what needs to be modified here. I'm just using a really rough like sketch here, a lot of angles and stuff. So we're going to come down like this, bring this down. And I am using a reference, even though I could probably, you know, draw this tree without a reference. I definitely think it's important to always use a reference. Because, you know, otherwise you're like, there's nothing wrong with making stuff up. But it's like, if you're painting and you already have so much to think about, you know, why not make your life easier and just have a reference ready? Maybe the industry needs to rethink how they make films. You guess with AI video generators? Yeah, I mean, with AI generators, that is for sure happening. For sure happening. Let's go into here, and we're going to come right down into here. I don't want to block off too much. And here we go. So I'm just shaping out a couple tree spaces here. Yeah, exactly. AI, I mean, people are going to lose work. Anything where people are going to lose work, people are definitely not happy. And, you know, it's like, I don't know. The OGs in Hollywood are very, very fortunate that they have already established reputations and they kind of have to keep it, you know? How do they maintain it? That's a tricky thing. Okay, so here we go. We got our blue. We're mix it in with some yellow to find like a nice light green, because blue and yellow make green. I can't show my mixing ability anymore, but honestly it's really not that impressive how I mix colors. I probably waste, the way I paint as far as colors go, I waste a lot, so I'm probably not the best person to learn how to mix colors from. But with that said, here we go. So we're gonna add some highlights around the tips here. Let's add some highlight into here. So we're going to go highlight, 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 highlight. Let's add a little highlight right at the tip here. Alexa, set alarm for 4:45.
Alarm set for 4:45 p.m.
And 100%. Yeah, AI, we're seeing it now. We are seeing transformation. It's scary. It's happening so fast. And it gets better and better. Like, I feel like just less than 6 months ago, everyone was talking about how bad AI is at creating hands. And now we're seeing some of the best hand AI paintings or drawings ever. It just blows my mind. It's scary. It really is. And I don't know how the world is going to deal with all of this like transformation. You know what? I should really just block this out into like sections here. Go with a slightly darker green on this one. I'm going to come underneath the tree for these. And add in some more of the shadow here. So this is our shadow green, which means that we're going to bring it into some of our spaces here to create the dimension of our plant. And by the way, I'm not just putting a tree here to cover anything up. I mean, it is convenient that this tree happens to be here. But yes, this tree is part of the painting, or part of the scene, I should say. So I'm not just doing it because it makes it easier. There is actually a tree in this section. Oh, you can't even see the other tree, can you? There we go. You see the other tree. This tree's on both sides. Only visionaries will be able to see AI as a tool to enhance, not replace. Ooh, Omizu. You're gonna have to you might have to support your argument there, just in case we have some Redditors here. Redditors absolutely cannot stand AI. Like anything that is even like remotely sounds AI is like instantly downvoted, and I just find it so amusing that like unless you're in an AI chat room or subreddit, you can't even like mention AI without like making like everybody mad. And I think that's sad because it's important to, you gotta talk about it. People can't talk about things on Reddit. You can only like agree. You can only agree with the most popular idea that's on Reddit. Otherwise, you're nobody. You're doing nothing. You're just an evil person. All right, so we're gonna go with slightly lighter green, and we're just gonna fill in these tree areas here. So. Redditors. Mizu says Redditors are not visionaries. Well, good point. That is a very good point. And I feel like I should share that comment with Reddit and see how many downvotes I get. That's hilarious. Yes, that's a really good point, man. Redditors are not visionaries. Isn't it amusing that I even suggested that accidentally suggested that might be a thing. Alexa, off. Alright, she's telling me that I'm talking too much and that it is time to finish up what I'm working on, and I need to go to class. I have class today. Started taking Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for fun. This tree looks a little whack right now, but we'll work on it and get it to a place where it'll look nice. But for now, actually, let's get the rest of this paint off. Get a nice flat. I'm gonna go get my butt kicked for an hour and 15 minutes or so. We'll probably take a break until tomorrow, painting wise. Good session. Yeah, I mean it's a beginner's class, so. But I think every citizen of any country should totally learn a martial art that interests them. You let off steam, you build confidence, you're less likely to be violent because you spend all this time either getting your butt kicked or already letting your steam off, so it's not like you need to let off. Like, how much steam can somebody possibly let off if they're every day they're either already doing pretty well, or I don't know. I might be surprised at how much steam people need to let off, but By the way, martial arts are healthy. Martial arts are good for your mental health, your physical health. I mean, you know, this is not medical advice. Do not take it as such. But there has been science that demonstrates that exercise can be very good for your body. And therefore, you know. That's true too, Joshua. But hopefully, you know, as far as the ego goes, there's always someone there that can put them in check, ideally. But anyway, here we go. I will wrap up for now. And we'll be back whenever. But hey, great chat with you, Josh. Great reconnecting with all these amazing people. Take care. I'll meet you later. Bye. Goodbye.